Hello and welcome to Landshark News. I'm Ben Soman.
And I'm Ryan Warshawski. Tonight's broadcast includes the latest from Syria to Washington, a look at ongoing stories in the news, updates in sports and entertainment, and more on the discovery of Shakespeare's skull. But first, we have a report on the latest whistleblowing scandal, dubbed the Panama Papers, stemming from a mass leak of data.
The biggest data leak in history, including 11 million documents implicating national leaders in widespread corruption, took the world by storm this week. The documents come from one of the world's most secretive companies, Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca. The leak shows how Mossack Fonseca helped clients launder money, dodge sanctions, and avoid taxes. The documents include the activities of 12 current or former heads of state, including Icelandic Prime Minister Sigmundur David Gunnlaugsson, and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Other details are still emerging. On Sunday, the 27th of March, Syrian forces reclaimed the ancient city of Palmyra, which had been under ISIS control for the past 10 months. During the 10-month ISIS occupation, many historical artifacts were destroyed, along with ancient buildings and other structures. Our reporter Nick Vidmar is on the scene.
Thanks, Ben. Behind me are the ruins of the ancient city of Palmyra, where on March 20th, Syrian forces captured Palmyra Castle, and after a week of fighting with some help of the Russian Air Force, Syrian forces were finally able to drive out all remaining ISIS soldiers in this ancient city. We will keep you up to date as the story unfolds. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Nick. A Brussels man by the name of Faikal Shafu, accused of the March 22nd Brussels bombing attack, was freed due to lack of evidence. The attacks on the airport and the city's metro system killed 35 people and injured more than 300. Both Shafu and another man were initially charged with terror offenses, though it was not explicitly clear if they were linked in any of the attacks. Shafu was in custody for the weekend until further investigation showed he was not involved.
A suicide bomber killed 69 people and injured over 300 in Islamabad, Pakistan on Easter Sunday. The terrorist set off his vest in a children's park next to a swing set, killing mostly Christian women and children. The Pakistani Taliban claimed responsibility for the blast. There have been already 3 other bombings in Pakistan this month alone. The U.S. State Department issued a statement, quote, "Attacks like these only deepen our shared resolve to defeat terrorism around the world, and we will continue to work with our partners in Pakistan and across the region to combat the threat of terrorism." Now an update from Abigail Evans on the recent shooting in Washington, D.C.
Bullets were fired at the Capitol Building Visitor Center in Washington, D.C. on March 28th. The criminal has been caught, and the injured party, originally thought to be a police officer, was a civilian woman who suffered minor wounds. The suspect in question is a 66-year-old man named Larry Russell Dawson, who previously disrupted Congress in October by claiming to be what he called the prophet of God. Dawson now faces criminal charges. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Abigail. What would the United States look like under nuclear attack? A recent propaganda video from North Korea seeks to demonstrate this. The video is called Last Chance and is uploaded to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea's YouTube channel and other social media outlets. The video shows a simulated bombing of Washington, D.C. by a nuclear device, destroying everything. It also includes old footage of North Korea's army and appears to portray a humiliating defeat for the United States. Speaking of devastation, this time in the real world, Clark Gegler is on the scene of the Pavlov volcano in Alaska. Clark?
This weekend, the Alaskan Pavlov volcano had its largest eruption since 2009. The volcano's eruption ash hit a record of reaching over 20,000 feet high. Because of this, more than 40 commercial air flights were canceled, delaying everyone from their weekend travels. Pavlov, 40 miles from the nearest community where tremors were felt, is part of the Aleutian Range on the Alaskan Peninsula. Alaskan state troopers could not immediately say if there were any reports of injuries. Back to you, Ben.
Thanks, Clark. Is minimum wage on the rise? California legislators and labor unions reached a tentative agreement to push minimum wage up to $15 an hour. Although this bill has not been finalized, most of the proposals say that the wage will increase to about $1 a year until reaching $15 in 2021. State Senator Mark Leno says this would make for the highest statewide minimum wage in the nation by far.
Governor of Georgia, Nathan Deal, vetoed a bill that, if passed, would give businesses the right to refuse service to gays so as to protect the business's religious beliefs. Organizations such as the National Football League and the Hollywood film industry have said that they would disassociate themselves with Georgia if the bill were to pass. In his defense of the veto, Deal said, "I do not think we need to discriminate against anyone to protect the faith-based community in Georgia. Despite his efforts, state lawmakers are threatening to hold a special session to override the vetoed bill." Are you ready to upgrade to a new phone on Verizon? If so, you need to pay a $20 upgrade fee beginning on April 4th, even if you have already paid full price. The only way customers can avoid being charged the extra fee is to buy the phone at another retailer and activate the phone at a Verizon location. The purpose of the extra charge is to cover the turnover rate of switching devices. It appears that more carriers are beginning to charge such fees.
A Minnesota entrepreneur has invented a handgun that can easily be disguised to look like a mobile phone. Inventor Kirk Kjellberg created the gun, named the Ideal Conceal, for gun owners to carry a firearm without drawing attention to themselves. While it is not yet available, critics of the Ideal Conceal worry about how easy it may be for children to get their hands on such a gun without their parents knowing and without them knowing that it's a gun. Kjellberg has stated that it is the owner's responsibility to keep the gun away from children. Now, in sports news, here's David Silverman on the latest soccer scandal.
Are drugs being used for soccer? It has been reported by The Guardian that London-based doctor Mark Bernard has sold drugs to 150 British athletes, including Premier League soccer players. Soccer teams have been outraged, but the doctor has claims there has been a misreading. Bernard says, "I have never had a relationship with any Premier football club or player." However, it has come to light that Bernard, while having a medical degree, is currently not licensed to practice medicine. The investigation continues, and now back to the desk.
You all have heard about the Disney movie The Jungle Book that came out in 1967, but this year the movie is going to be shown in live action. But that's not all. The 2016 film will also follow the same plot line as the original. The Jungle Book is set to hit the theaters April 15th and stars Idris Elba as Shere Khan. The director is Jon Favreau, who was also the director of Iron Man. Also in entertainment news, the band 3 Doors Down has just released their new album entitled Us and the Night. The band, which was formed in 1996, had originally planned to release this album in 2014. However, due to the arrest of band member Todd Harrell for DUI, the band delayed the album's release until March 2016. The band's last album, Time of My Life, was released in 2011. This new album can be purchased on iTunes and other online distributors.
Shakespeare's skull has been stolen. Earlier this year, scientists were allowed to scan the bard's family grave, and Shakespeare was buried in a shallow grave with his wife. Markings on the skeleton reveal that his head was removed. This appears to confirm a long-time rumor that grave robbers in the 1800s had made off with his head. Scientists found evidence of caveman genes that could be helpful to us today. These include genes for strong hair and thicker skin. These attributes could be useful in the future for high altitude and space travel. The finding was based on research by Saram Kararaman, assistant professor at the University of California, Los Angeles.
Cell phones have been known to cause distractions in our daily lives, from driving to walking. Currently, New Jersey Democrat Pamela R. Lampitt is trying to pass a bill to stop people from texting and walking at the same time. If the bill passes, the penalty of $50 and 15 days in jail would be in effect, the same as jaywalking. Other states tried to pass this same bill, but failed.
What happens when a British science organization asks British citizens to name a new state-of-the-art research ship? A competition was set by the Natural Environment Research Council to urge ordinary folks to submit names for the new polar research ship. Some names that were proposed include Pingu, It's Bloody Cold Here, and Pillar of Autumn. Currently in the lead by an overwhelming margin is Boaty McBoatface. However, the final decision is in the hands of the National Environmental Research Council.
Thank you, Ben. This concludes our program for the night. This is Ryan Warshawski.
And I'm Ben Soman. Thank you for watching, and rest easy, Brattleboro.